Okay, let's start. Today we are going to talk about how, basically, as you illustrated before for Bioscan, how we deal with metadata within ERGA from when they are collected from the field to ENA. Okay, this is a bit of the overview. First, the way we develop in ERGA to collect the metadata, it's called the ERGA manifest, that usually we suggest the researchers to bring it with them on the field. And then the metadata are brokered by COPO to ENA. All right, so COPO is a data broker. But now I'm going to give you more detail about all of the steps. So I don't know if you are familiar with what we do in ERGA. We did species nominations, and researchers from all around Europe nominated some species, and then we selected them via an algorithm. Our script, I would say, not algorithm is too much. And then this is what we provide. This work has been done by Work Package 5, mainly by Rita, Javi, Rosa, and Astrid. And we provide this guide to the sample providers, okay, if their species is selected. Okay, and basically there is the guidance on how to collect and every single step that they have to comply with if they want their sample to be under ERGA. Okay, now I try to summarize the steps briefly. So first there is the taxonomy and regulatory framework. So from a taxonomic point of view, if the species is selected, we require that they make a request for the NCBI taxon ID, and then that this should correspond to the species that is in the list. So the species that is selected, to be sure that we are generating a genome that is not yet out, okay? Let's put it like this. And then we provide them with this is our regulatory framework that you see on the right. So we have let's say 3 documents and 1 step to do. We provide the sampling code of practice that is for the project, for BGE ERGA. And then we provide the data sharing practices, the open data policy that was provided by Dimitris. And then the genome team definitions to avoid any confusion, especially later with authorships. And then we suggest them to start to take care about the material transfer agreement. But you all know that is something that cannot be done so fast. Yes, Elena, I see your head. Okay, once they did what we would like in ERGA, we would like scientific research to be ethic and regulated. Not as an optional, but one of the main pillars of modern scientific research. So first we require all of the legal permissions to be collected. So we ask if there is a Nagoya involved, because as you know, not all of the countries in Europe adhere to the Nagoya protocol. We need the Nagoya permit down to the regional sampling permit with everything that is in between them. Because when we think to ethic permit, and this is something that I hear a lot in the community, we talk only about Nagoya. But Nagoya is one of many that you need to request, okay? And then what we request is the document retention. Sorry? Okay, no. Is the document retention. So why we ask this? So basically we have a repository that stores the data only in Europe, because this is another point that should be taken care of. And we keep they keep the original version of the permit, and we keep a copy of it when it's possible to retrieve it. And we do this for the verification and accountability. Accountability because if they declare something that is not true, then it's up to them to answer if there is something wrong, and it's not up to us. And then for transparency, because we are talking about open science, and we are pushing towards open science a lot. And then also for data quality and reproducibility, okay? Okay, this is an Excel file that is the ERGA manifest. Technology, right? Okay, on the left you can see the steps. I took these logos from Rita work. First you go on the field, you collect the sample, and then you take a specimen voucher. I know that for some taxa it's not possible to have a specimen voucher, so you can take another individual of the same population, or you can also take a picture. But we need some kind of identification of them. And then what you do, you flash freeze the samples. If you follow down here, all right, you flash freeze the sample and you store them. And then what do we do with the samples? Part of them, if there is enough material, is going to be stored in a biobank. And even here, if there is not the possibility, for example, to have enough material, you can compensate in some other ways. We can, for example, store DNA that was extracted if there is leftover, or again, another individual belonging to the same population. And then this goes, part of the tissue clearly will go for sequencing, and the part for barcoding. Because we want to make sure that when we engage in the production of a high quality reference genome, we are not doing something that has been done already by somebody else. I know genome looks like they are a big thing, but it happens in the past. It happened that a genome was produced and there was already another one out. And we strictly want to avoid it. And to take back the discussion, what we have in the manifest, we have, I would say, 8. I don't recall the number, but we have many different fields. Some are mandatory, some are not mandatory. And we have, for example, the taxonomist. We took example from Sanger, Darwin Tree of Life, what they did. And we also, in the genome notes that will be generated by BGE ERGA, we will acknowledge every person every researcher person that contributed to the project. All right. And then what do we do with the data? So I don't know if you know what it is. Copo. Copo is a data broker platform that let's say promote the fair data, and basically they give to the researchers a way on how to describe their I don't want to say species, but let's say research object, because it's not only used by us, by the research object. And in this way, which is the final goal is that we have, for example, in BGE ERGA, we have a minimum requirement of field that should be checked in for acceptance. And if you want your manifest to be approved by Copo before sending the data to ENA, you need to fill all of them. Otherwise, your manifest is not approved and you have to provide further data. And this will assure consistency. Because as you know, we have a lot of public repository, but there is still not consistency in terms of metadata for each species that was collected. And this we have to move forward and be sure that if somebody would like to retrieve the data, the final data users, let's call them, we need to facilitate their life. And I believe that the final goal is to make them machine readable. I'm sorry, again. We go again to the machines, Oleg. But in this way, if you want to do a meta-analysis, you just retrieve the data and you don't have NAs everywhere, just to make it, to put it down easy. Okay, how it works in ERGA. So basically the sample provider fills the manifest. The manifest is submitted to Copo. They do a automatic check, again machines, and then they send back the manifest to the sample coordinators that are Rita and Nuria, and before it was Javi, and Thomas also. Sorry, yeah. And then they check some of the fields that cannot be checked by the machine, and then they validate the manifest, or they send it back to the sample provider. So there is no way, if you don't have enough metadata, to pass this obstacle. But for science in the future, this is fundamental. And that's why this platform can enforce the scientific community to provide the data. Otherwise, you cannot submit. And then once the manifest is approved, in these best practices, we suggest to send it with dry ice or dry shippers. Dry shippers are containers that with liquid nitrogen, but without liquid nitrogen. It is more, the liquid nitrogen is absorbed by membranes, and you can also transport them in the train, for example. And I know that today this is one of the main barriers because it's super expensive, only to send one tube. But I hope that soon somebody will find a way to deal with it. And then once the samples enter the system, that everything is approved and they're sent to the sequencing centers or to the biobank we start with the sample tracking. We had the Work Package 9 that designed a sample tracking platform. It is the work of Tyler Aliotto at SINAG in Barcelona. And then the sample is followed from the beginning to the end. And now he's trying with the team to improve the tracking system, because we strongly believe that we need to start from when the species is selected. So we can have much more details about the status of the species. So if it's collected, people are on the field, all of the more detailed steps that for us are fundamental for coordinate and organize the work. All right. And then in the end, COPO, what they do will, for you, give the data, input the data to ENA. That is the European Nucleotide Archive. I believe you are familiar with it. It's like a public repository, so no login is required. You just enter, you can go there, and even the people can, not scientists, can search for what they want. And basically it's a nucleotide, comprehensive, let's say, nucleotide database that not only have DNA data, but also RNA data, okay? And, okay, maybe this is, it took a while for me because I didn't went to check it, so to understand the structure. So we have the INSDC, International Nucleotide Sequence Database collaboration, that is made by 3 large databases. ENA is simply the European node of INSDC. And then we have GeneBank, that is based, you mentioned already before, in the States. And then you have DDBJ. And the ultimate goal that they have is to standardize, to have consistency in between the data that are produced everywhere in the world. We still have to work on it. It's not, but we will manage, in my opinion. Japanese consortium, yeah. Okay, to explain a bit the structure, and then I will go a bit deeper in the ERGA structure under ENA. So I took this from their own read the docs, it's called. So their own guidelines on GitHub, I believe. And basically what you do, if you have a sample, first of all, you create a project. That is the overall ENA research project. And usually when you ask for a project, you have to provide a description. And then if the project is accepted, they send you the name of the bio project that is done, that it starts with PRJEB. They provide also other information, but are not relevant today from what I'm saying. And then you can register your samples. So basically it's the sequence biomaterial that you have. And when you register your biosample, to create your biosample, you will receive, in the end, the SAMEA code. That is the unique identification for your species, your individual, let's say. Yeah. Okay? And then all of the data that are produced, in our case, for example, I wrote assembly and annotation data, because now they recently implemented, I believe, the annotation data. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, to be checked. But the assembly data, when they're done, you can send them back, feed it to ENA, they go in the public repository, and then they are available, they are associated to the sample and associated to the study. All right, and everything is publicly available, and even in BGE, basically the data from when they are produced, they go immediately into public. Okay, we don't wait before the question was asked, and we would like to avoid, let my PhD finish his thesis or her thesis. It's better to make everything public from the beginning. Raw data, assembly data. Okay, and now let's go to something that is self-explainable. So this is the ERGA Bio project. This was done by Joanna of work package 12 and even another work package, right? 9, exactly, as well. As you can see, ERGA aimed to be the European node of the Earth Biogenome project. So if you start from the bottom here, you have the Earth Biogenome project, all right? And then going down, you have ERGA and VGP, and then all of the other nodes, regional nodes, ERGA France, ERGA Switzerland, Catalan Biogenome Project, Endemixit, and ERGA BGE. Okay, now the message that I would like to send is that this is not a hierarchical structure. I mean, if you talk about Catalan Biogenome Project, they are ERGA. It's not that ERGA is above them. All right, because this should not be seen in this way, because it's like counterintuitive. We are all part of a system that generates data under BGE because we want to create this reference genome atlas in Europe, but have the more genome as possible. Okay, to enforce researchers, but also as a heritage for humanity. And then you have the species associated with the species could be associated then with one project, but if you think with more than one project, because a species could be associated to CBP, to Catalan Biogenome Project, and then to ERGA, and then to EBP. All right? But it is the best way to represent it. But I wanted to tell that is not, because already people from other consortiums start to say, oh, but we were there before. But you're not there before. You are part. You are ERGA as much. ERGA is a name, and that you are part of it. There is no first and second. And then I will finish here. And then, with a message that is super important. And then And then to finish, what I was saying is that I'm super happy that in BGE we are enforcing the metadata, because in my opinion they are the tail of the sequence that we produce. And without them, it's like part of the story is missing. And we should consider them at the same level, not as, something I could do later. When I have the data, when I publish the paper, I can deal with metadata. That's it. Yes, you have 1 minute for question, please.
I'm on the COPO website. How easy is it for, say, Bioscan to use COPO? Because we wanted to send 30,000 genome skins to ENA.
It's an automatic system, so I believe that they will not have much problems, but I can give you the contact if you want to do this. I don't know exactly how it works with barcoding, so I cannot answer now, but they can deal with a lot of data, because it's like a computational platform. I mean, and you can customize it. And they are helping us a lot, because every time we are making a changement in the manifest, they implemented. So this could also be done. But all of the talk that I gave, it's basically to enforce the use of the FAIR principles, not enforce, but to push it forward. But I believe they can do something.